Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to start with a new topic, that is chapter number 7, linking. In the last class we have covered about the sixth chapter, that is continuation of the sixth chapter, that is memory hierarchy. But today I'm going to start with a new topic, that is chapter number 7, linking. So this is your chapter number 7, that is a linking part. But before this, let's take a small quick review of what we have covered in the last class. In the last class we have covered, or we discussed the topic, we covered the topic, that is cache design. We discussed about the memory hierarchy, and there is a huge gap between the memory hierarchy, that is the performance, and the memory performance, or the processor and the memory performance. There is a huge gap. We discussed about that. Then we also discuss about the memory cache, that is what is cache memory, where it lies. It lies between the CPU and the main memory. As you see, this is the cache memory, this is the main memory. So the cache memory lies between the CPU and the main memory. Then we also discuss about the memory locality, that is what is locality and what is the advantage of using the locality. So whenever we take, or whenever we have taken, or whenever we need memory access in the near future, that is a future, we need the access again and again, then we use the locality term. And there are two types of locality we have studied: temporal locality and spatial locality. Then we also discuss about the caching, that is how cache exploits, or how hierarchy exploits locality by using the cache, that we have discussed in the last class. This is the diagram we have discussed. The main memory, that is your chip memory, L2 cache, L3 cache, main memory, disk. We have discussed about the memory hierarchy. Then we have discussed about the cache fundamentals. What is cache hit? What is cache miss? Hit time, miss penalty, hit ratio, miss ratio. These are the most important terms that is used in the cache memory. Then again, some fundamentals includes the cache block size, cache line size, instruction cache, data cache, unified cache. We have discussed all these things in the last class. Then we have discussed about the cache characteristics, that is divided into 4 parts. One is cache organization, one is cache access, one is cache replacement, and one is write policy. Then we have discussed about the cache organization, where we put the, or what is the organization or the structure of the cache memory, means where the data will be stored in the cache memory. We discuss about that. Then we discuss about the cache access, that is how block can be accessed with the use of the cache memory by using the concept of tag, field, block, offset. So we will discuss about how we are accessing the elements of the cache, or how one block or one word can be accessed in the, or with the help of cache memory. Then this is the diagram of the cache organization. This is how cache replaces or stores the data and gives the data whenever there is a requirement for the CPU. Then which block should be replaced on a miss? Miss means when data is not available in the cache memory, then CPU must go to the main memory. Then how or which block should be replaced? There are 3 types of mapping that is used. One is direct mapping, one is set SCT mapping, or the full SCT mapping, one is random, one is LRU, that is least recent used. Then we have discussed about the how to access a direct mapping cache, that is what is direct mapping cache, by cache memory, or how direct mapping is done in the cache memory. Then accessing a two-way associative cache, that is a hit logic. We have discussed about this. Then we have discussed about the diagrammatical representation of the L1 cache. This is the diagram of the cache organization. This is the evaluation by using the histograms we have discussed in the last class. Then we have discussed about the cache access, that is what is the formula of cache accessing, or how we can access the elements of the cache. That is cache size equals to number of sets into block size into number of associativity. Then what is the cache size? If we have a direct mapping, 128 cache with the 32-bit byte block. This is the cache access. Then what happens on a write? That is, what is the write policy, or what are the types of the write policy that is available in the cache memory? So there are two types, or there are four types generally. One is write through, one is write back, then write allocate, no write allocate. Then we have discussed about the cache performance, that is, what is the CPU time and what is the memory store clock cycles. CPU time, this is the CPU time formulas we have discussed. Then this is the key points, or what we have discussed in the last session, that is the previous pages of the PDF. Then last topic that we have discussed is how to improve the cache performance, that is improving the cache performance. This includes three parts. Cache performance can be improved by reducing the miss rate, by reducing the miss penalty, or by reducing the time to hit in the cache. So these are the 3 points that is used for increasing or for improving the performance of the cache memory. We have discussed all these in detail, that is how to reduce the miss rate. There are few concepts, or there are 5 to 6 technology that is used to reduce the cache or to reduce the misses in the cache memory, or the miss rate in the cache memory. First of all, we have also discussed about the 3 types of misses, that is 3 C's: compulsory, capacity, and conflict. This is the diagrammatical representation of the miss rate. Then how to reduce the misses? This is by using the larger block size, we have discussed. By using the higher associativity, we have discussed about this. And then by using the victim cache, that is reducing the misses by using the victim cache, by using the pseudo associativity, then by using the hardware prefetching of the instructions as well as the data. Then we have also discussed about the stream buffer. And then there are different varieties of stream buffer we have discussed. That is, one is predictor directed stream buffer. This is the tabular format or diagrammatical representation of the hardware prefetching. Then last topic, or the last way to reduce the miss, by using the software prefetching data. No, that is not last. One more is available, that is using the various compiler optimization. These are the compiler optimization methods. Then we have discussed about the second method for improving the cache, that is reducing the miss penalty. In this, there are again multiple technology that is used. One is read priority override on the miss. That is your how to reduce the miss penalty, that is used to increase or improve the performance of the cache memory. That is uses or read or give the priority to the read operation instead of the write operation whenever there is a miss in the cache. Then next point, or the next method to improve the miss rate or the miss penalty or reduce the miss penalty, is using the sub-block placement, that is also known as the sectoring. Then we have discussed also again next method, that is early restart and critical word first. Then how to reduce the miss penalty, that is using the non-blocking caches. This is the next technology that is used. Uses multi-level cache is another technology for improving the cache memory. Then we have discussed about the way of line graph or the diagrammatical representation. Then L2 size is more important than the latency. Why? What is the main reason? Then we have discussed about the multi-level caches. That is, there are 5 techniques that is used to reduce the miss penalty. This is a summary of all the 5 methods. Then reduce the time to hit in the cache is the last slide or the last PDF page. This is what we have covered in the last class. And in last class, we have covered, or we have finished with the chapter number 6, that is your memory hierarchy. Now let's start with the new topic, that is the next chapter, that is your linking. This is one of the important chapter. Till now we have discussed about different concepts, what is memory, what are the techniques used for the memory. Now how linking can be done, that is how program will be executed in the programming language and how different parts of the program, different parts means there are varieties of operations or the varieties of program. So how different parts, different programs, different methods will be linked together to give an accurate output. That is a linking part. As the name advice, linking means linking various parts of the program so that it gives accurate result, accurate output, efficient output that is required by the programmers. So this is a linking chapter. This includes 13 topics. That is, first one is your compiler drivers. That is, what is a compiler driver? Why we are using the compiler drivers? Then static linking, that is how linking can be done in a static way, that is static linking, that is not at the runtime but it at the compile time. Then object files, this is the next topic. Then relocatable object file. These are the 4 topics that I will cover in the today's class. Then symbol and the symbols table, that is which symbol is used for the compilation and what are the multiple symbols that is used, that shown in the, or that is shown in the tabular format. Then symbol resolution, that is how symbol will be resolved or how we are using the symbol for moving or for going to the next program that is used in the programming language. Then next is your relocation, that is how different parts can be relocated, that is your relocation part. Then executable object file, so this is what is discussed in the detail, that is what is executable object file or what are the executable objects file in detail, what are the different methods, what are the different files available that is used for executing the program. Then next is your dynamic linking with shared library. This is the again new topic that is covered in this chapter. This is one of the important chapter and one of the very easiest chapter. Why? Because everything you know what is program, and in this we have discussed, or we will discuss that what are the parts of a program and how different parts will be available in the program. Then next is your loading and linking shared library. This is your next topic, that is how to load and how to link the shared library from different applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Then the last topic or the most important topic of this chapter is your PIC, that is position independent code. That is a code that is not dependent on anyone, not depending on the position, but it is independent of the position that is available, that is used by different platforms or different operating system. Then next is your tools that are used for manipulating the objects file. At last there is a summary part. So these are all topics that is covered in this chapter, that is your linking chapter. So let's start with the first topic. First of all, what is a linking? This is one of the important topics, one of my favorite topic, that is your linking part. So let's start. This is your linking. As this says, linking is the process of collecting. So linking is the process of collecting and combining various pieces of code. As I told you, what is linking? Means collecting and combine various pieces of code, various parts of the code. Code means any programming code and data into single file that can be loaded into the memory. That is, we can combine, or linking can combine various codes or combine and collect and combine various pieces of the code and data into a single file. A single file means into a single data that can be loaded into the memory and executed. So means dividing the or collecting multiple parts of the code, multiple pieces of the code into a single file that can be loaded into the memory and executed. That is the main part, or that is a linking. Means collecting various parts, combining various parts, collect into the one file and load to the memory, then the memory or the CPU executes that code. That is a linking. Linking can be done or can be performed at 2 levels, at 2 times, that is compile time and the runtime. So this says linking can be performed at compile time when the source code is translated. What is source code? That is your programming code. That is when the source code is translated into the machine code. That is a program is converted into the binary, into the zeros and one, that is your machine code at the load time, that is your compile time, and when the program is loaded into the memory and executed by the loader, and even at the runtime by the application program. So one is compile time, when the code is translated into the binary terms. One is compile time, when the application programs executes the code, that is your runtime. So linking can also be done or can be performed at two levels, that is compile time and the runtime. On early systems, on early computer systems, linking was performed manually. That is, we manually convert the code into the binary terms, then executes the code by using the application program. But no, now there is no requirement. This says on modern systems, linking is performed automatically by the programs known as the linkers. So these are the programs that is already available in the modern system, that is known as a linker, that automatically converts the code into binary, that is automatically used as at the compile time and automatically used at the runtime. So this is your linking. Then linkers play a crucial role in software development. What is software development? That is used for building the or for developing the software. So this says linkers plays a crucial role in software development. Why? Because they enable separate compilation. What is software development? First of all, whenever we develop or whenever any analyst develop the software, that is, or any develop any system, that is known as the software development, because they enable separate compilation. Separate compilation means there is a requirement in software development that there is a separate compilation part. That is also a crucial role that is used by the linking. So instead of organizing a large application as one monolithic source file, we can decompose. We can decompose means linker can decompose or divide into various parts, or decompose into various parts, that is your decomposition or dividing into various parts, more manageable module that can be modified and compiled separately. So this paragraph says linking can, most important application of linking is that it can be used in the software development where there is a separate requirement or requirement for the separate compilation. So whenever we or when we change one of these modules, we simply recompile it and relink the application without having to recompile the other files. So whenever there is a multiple chunks of the linking, multiple parts of the same linking, so if there is any fault in the module, one module, so there is no requirement that whole module or the whole software can be rebuilt, can again be recompiled. No. Only that module which can be modified is recompiled and used or recompiled into multiple parts. So this is the main advantage, that there is no requirement that whole system can be recompiled. No, only that module which needs attention, which needs more attenuation, more requirement, that only be recompiled. So this can linking is usually handled quietly by the linker and not an important issue for students who are building small programs in introductory programming classes. So this is for you, that it is not required for you because you are writing only one program for addition, for subtraction, for square root. No, that is not for you. Linking is not for you, but linking is used for the programmers who write multiple codes, who write large programs, that is a thick program that is used by the development, that is used by the industry. So like linking is the important issue in that part only. But it's not used in the small program that is used by the student for writing the programs, for getting the knowledge of the programming language. So why bother learning about the linking? So these are the multiple features. Why we bother or why we aim, or why we are here to learn the linking? These are the features. Understanding linkers will help you to build large programs. Suppose this time you are a student, right? But suppose if you are becoming a programmer, so it is very useful for you if you are becoming a programmer, or you will become a programmer one day. It is very useful that you are knowing the linking part. So this is one of the important feature, that understanding the linkers will help you to build a large program. This says programmer who build large program often encounter linking errors caused by the missing modules, missing libraries, incompatible library versions. Unless you understand how a linker resolve references, what a library is, and how a linker uses a library to resolve references, this kind of error will be battling and frustrating. Means this paragraph or this point says until and unless you don't have a knowledge of the linking, so it is not for you for writing, or it is not for suitable for you for writing the large program, because there are so many errors that is available or that is caused or that is available in the program. So it is better for you to learn the linking for developing or for building the large programs. Then next feature is that understanding the linkers or linking will help you to avoid dangerous programming errors. Dangerous programming errors means which can even destroy your system, that you are dangerous programming error. So whenever you have a knowledge of the linking or the linkers, that helps you to avoid dangerous programming error even if you write small programs being a student. There can also be a dangerous programming errors which can hang, which can destroy your whole system, format your whole system. So linking is very important. This says the decisions that Unix linker make when they resolve symbol references can silently affect the correctness of our programs. Program that incorrectly define multiple global variable pass without any warning in the default case means there is a warning, there is a default case warning, but that is only a warning, but that is not used by the dangerous programming error. The resulting program can exhibit battling runtime behavior and are extremely difficult to debug. So it is very difficult to find the errors. So that can cause a dangerous programming errors and that can destroy your whole system. Then next is your understanding the linking will help you understand how language scoping rules are implemented. So first point says whenever you build large program, there is a huge requirement to understand the linking. And to avoid the programming error, that is a dangerous programming error, it is better to know it is better to gain the understanding of the linking. Next, it will help you understand how language have a different scoping rules, how language have a different rules and regulations that are implemented. For example, what is the difference between global and the local variable? This can be used, or this can be, or you can give the, or you can take the, or you can have a knowledge of this answer by using the rules that is known by using the linking. So whenever you have a knowledge of the linking, you have a knowledge of the rules and regulation, you can give answers to the question that is used in the programming language. Next point says understanding linking will help you understand other important system concepts. Other important systems concept means, for example, we have studied about the memory hierarchy, virtual memory, memory management. So all these topics are also you are able to understand all these topics by using the concept if you have a knowledge of the linking. So this says understanding linking will help you understand other important system concepts. The executable object files produced by the linker plays key role in important system functions such as loading, linking, virtual memory, paging, memory mapping. So if you have a knowledge of the linking, you are able to understand, or you are able to give the answers to the important system concepts. Then next point says understanding linking will enable you exploit shared libraries. Now, first of all, what is shared library? Shared library means that is common to every operating system, that is used by you, that is used by me, that is means that is available in any programming language. That is a shared library. You can use, me can use, my friend can use, your friend can use. That is a shared library. This says for many years, linking was considered to be fairly straightforward and uninteresting. I mean, there is no interest because that is shared library that can be used by you, you told to me, me told to you. So there is a shared library, so that is not interesting. However, with the increased importance of shared libraries and dynamic linking means that is available at the runtime. In modern operating system, linking is a sophisticated process that provides the knowledgeable programmer with significant power. So this says if you have a knowledge, if you have an importance of the shared library, that have a linking is the important process or the sophisticated process that provides the knowledgeable programmer with significant power. For example, many software product uses shared library. Means whenever you build any software product, like any system that you build uses the shared libraries to upgrade shrink wrapped binaries at runtime. Also, most web servers rely on the dynamic linking of the shared library to serve dynamic content. For example, the best example is that if I'm using a programming language, if I'm using a scripting language, that is HTML. So if you have a knowledge of the shared library, and if you have a shared library concept in your system, then it is very easy for you to writing the code for the HTML and link the HTML code to the database. So shared library concept is mostly used whenever you have a knowledge of the linking. So this is your again the feature of the linking. So these are the multiple, or these are the 5 topics, or these are the 5 points that explain you that what is the main advantage or what is the striking feature, why we are using the linking, why you have a knowledge or you must have a knowledge of the linking. That is, first of all, it avoids the dangerous programming errors, it helps you to build the large program, it helps you to develop or create the rules regulation or understand the rules regulation, it helps you to understand important system concepts like memory management, virtual memory, and next it helps you to exploit the shared libraries. These are the features that is used in the linking. So this chapter provides a thorough discussion of all the concepts, all the aspects of the linking, starting from the traditional static linking, that is compile time, to the dynamic linking of the shared libraries at the load time, to the dynamic linking of the shared library at the runtime. This chapter gives a thorough reading, thorough discussion, that is what is linking, why linking is used, what is the main motto of the linking, and linking is available at the load time, static time, dynamic linking, and every type of linking. So we will describe the basic mechanism using real examples, and we will identify situations in which linking issues can affect the performance and correctness of your program. So now let's start with your first topic. Till now, this is a brief introduction that what is a linking, what are the features of the linking. Now, first part is your compiler drivers. This says, consider the C program in figure 1. It consists of 2 source main files, that is main.c and swap.c. This is a explanation of the with the help of the programming. So let's see another PDF that have a different concept. This is a compiler driver. This says a compiler driver is a program which invokes the other components of the tool set to process a program. So compiler driver is nothing. It is a program that provides or that invokes or that initiates other components of the tool set. Because suppose I have a tool set of 5 tools. So it invokes, or compiler driver invokes, other components of the tool set to process a program, to execute a program. There is a separate compiler driver for each source language. Means if I'm using the C language, there is a separate compiler driver. If I'm using the C++, there is a separate compiler driver. If I'm using the Java, there is a separate compiler driver. So compiler driver is a program that invokes the other program of the toolset to process or to execute a program, and there is a unique compiler driver for each source language, for each programming language. The drivers uses command line arguments and source file extension to determine which compiler or assembler to invoke for each source file. That is, it uses, or the compiler driver uses, line argument or the command line arguments and source file extension. Suppose there is an extension .mac, that is your Mac file, that is your macro file. Command line argument, that is your argc, that is your argv. So compiler driver or any driver uses the compile line argument and the source file extension to determine, to know which compiler or assembler to invoke for each source file, then sequencing the resulting output through the subsequent linker and conversion utilities, relieving or revealing the user of a burden of invoking each of these tools individually. That is, using these tools individually or using these files individually, the compiler driver is a program that uses multiple programs. Now, what compiler driver, that is a GCC. When you invoke GCC, it normally does pre-processing, compilation, assembly, linking. As I told you with the help of a definition, that is, compiler driver is a program which can effect or which can combine or which can invoke, which can initiate other components or the tools of the tool set to give the output, to build the output, to execute the program. So it normally does pre-processing, compilation, assembly, and linking as needed on behalf of the user. So whenever you invoke compiler driver or whenever you invoke the program, it does the pre-processing, that is before the processing, compilation, assembling, and the linking on behalf of the user. Now, it accepts, it means compiler driver, that is your GCC, accepts options and file names and as operand. As I told you, it uses the various file extensions. It accepts the options and file names as the operands. This can be used by using the ampersand, that is your percentage GCC 01 GOP main.c swap.c. That is, these two programs are used, and GCC compiler driver brings out or uses the tools of these two programs, that is your main program, that is your main.c, and the swap program, that is your swap.c. Then uses percentage MAN GCC, that is your next concept, that is in your next line. Now, what is preprocessor? That is your CPP .c to I. This is the compiler driver. That is a task of the compiler driver. These are the tools of the compiler driver. First of all, there is a preprocessor, then compiler, assembler, linker. As I told you, it does preprocessing, compilation, assembling, linking. So these are the four concepts that is used. This shows this is a compiler driver. This is a preprocessor, that is .c to .i. Compiler, that is CC1, I file to .s. Assembler .s to relocatable object file, that is your .o. This is your extension, that is dot is your extension symbol. Then linker, that is your LD, creates executable object file. That is your create executable object file known as a.out as a default, that is a.output as a default. So this is the role of the compiler driver that does the pre-processing, compilation, assembler, and then linking to the or creates an executable objects file and give the output as the a.out. Then next is your loader. The Unix shell invokes a function in the operating system to call the loader. That is, it is a function that is used in the operating system to call the loader, that is copies the code and data in the executable file into the memory. That is, first of all, copy the data or copy the code or copy the programming code and data into the executable file and load into the memory. Then transfer the control to the beginning of the program. So this is the loader, that is, it is a main function, it is a functionality that is used in Unix, that is used to call to the loader. So first of all, copy the programming code data in the executable file into the memory, then transfer the control to the beginning of the program. Now, this is your linking concept, that is building a program. This is the ASCII source file, this is your text file, this is your m.c, that is your main.c. There is a translator that translates into the binary, that is your p. This is binary executable object file, that is memory image on the disk. This is your text file, that is main. This is your program file. This is again main.c, this is a.c. There is a translator that translate or that converts m.c into the m.o and m.ao. That is your main object file, that is your a object file. Then there is a next concept, that is a linker. There is a p, that is your executable object file for all the function that is used in the C. This says efficiency issue. Small change requires recompilation. That is, if there is a small change requires recompilation, that is whole program can be recompiled. Then modularity issue, that is hard to share common function, that is printf. Then solution, what is the solution? Uses the static linking, that is linking is done at the compile time, not at the run time. Then compile each C program to create .o file. So this is the scenario, that is main.c, that is your m.c is converted into the program by using the translator. But there is an issue, that is if there is a small change, so that programs require recompilation. So again we compile, again there is a resources used, efficiency used, manpower used. Again next program will be developed, again that requires recompilation, if again that whole process will be disturbed. So that limitation can be improved by using the static linking, that is linking can be done at the compile time. So this says this is the how compile time linking can be done, that is compile each C program. Each C program means this is one program of C, that is m.c, this is another program of C, that is a.c, to create a .o file, that is your object file. Means translator converts the code that is written in the C language into the binary code, that is your object file code, that is your m.o and a.o. This is %gcc, that is your compiler, C m.c, this is gcc c a.c. Next, combine the .o file. This is combination of .o file into a single executable file, then run, that is single executable file, then run the code using the .gcc m.o a.o. That is a combination of these and converted into the o.p or op, that is your output. Then using the %p. So this is your concept that is used in linking or building the program. Means first of all various programs are converted into the object file, means the C programming language is converted or the C files is converted into the object files. Then multiple object files are converted or combined into the single executable object file. That is your output, that is used by using the %p. Now, what are the types of object files? This is a compiler driver. Consider the C program in figure 1. Now, let's see what is figure 1. This is your figure 1, I think so. Yeah, this is figure 1. The example program consists of two source files, that is main.c and the swap.c. So this contains two files. One is main.c, that is your main file. One is your swap.c, that is using the definition of the function, that is the swap.c. This is void swap. This is the function declaration, that is using the void variable, using the data type, that is void, and there is a function name, that is your swap, and there are no argument, that is of default type, that is your swap. Then int buffer 2, that is using the array that is buffer2, there are two elements in this array, that is 1 and 2. Then using the main variable, that is int main, then you call the function that is swap, then return 0. Now then the link or the linking can be done, that is swap is converted into this part, that is the definition of the swap, that is void swap. This is void swap using the variable int temp. There is a variable declaration, the variable name is temp, that is your temp. Using the BEF, the buffer p1 equals to ampersand buffer1, that is storing the address of the buffer1 to the buffer p1 using the temp variable for buffer p0. Then p0 is or the buffer p1 output is going to the buffer p0, then temp variable output is going to the p1. That is the swapping is done between the buffer p1 and the buffer p0, that is your BUF p0 and BUF p1. That is the swapping, means exchanging the elements of the buffering or the variables, that is buffer p0 and buffer p1. This is the same that we have discussed. This is main.c, swap.c, source file. These are converted by using the translator, that is CPP, compilers. This is your CPP, that is your pre-processing, then compiler, then assembler. So this is the role of the compiler driver. Then converted into the object file, that is main.o and swap.o, that is relocatable object file. Then link all the object files into the one program, into the one executable object file, that is done by the linker. So this is the role of the compiler driver, that includes pre-processing, compilation, assembly, and the linking. This says the linker combines relocatable object files into a single form, into a single executable file, that is a P file. So this is the compiler driver. This is your how it will be used, that is GCC 02Z0P main.c. This is what we have covered using the different PDF. This is what we have discussed. This is the code that is used for loading. Now, next is your static linking. This is the shell invokes a function in the operating system known as the loader, which copies the data and the code into an executable file P into the memory, then transfer the control to the beginning of the program. So means loader is used for linking or for compiling the various objects file into the one executable file, that is your P. Next is your static linking. This is the static linking. This is first step, that is symbol resolution. That is how symbol resolution can be done. This says static linkers or static linking such as Unix LD, that is a loader program, takes the input as a collection of relocatable object files and command line arguments. That is, it or static linking use the input or consider the input as a relocatable object file, that is your object files, and the command line arguments, and generate output or generate or gives an output as a fully linked executable object file or fully linked object file, that is your one file that is done by the, that is combined by the linker, and executable object file that can be loaded and run. That is your linking. This is the concept of the linking. This is the linking. This is the linker that is used, that is combining the main.o and the swap.o into the one file, that is your P. So this is collection or input a collection of relocatable objects files and command line argument and generate a output as a fully linked executable object file that can be loaded and run. The input relocatable object file consists of various codes and the data sections. Instructions are in one section, initialization global variable are in another section, and uninitialized variable are in yet another section. To build the executable, the linker must perform the two tasks. That is your task of the linker, that is, one is symbol resolution, one is relocation. This is the topic that is discussed, or that will be discussed in the later chapter, on this chapter, on the later stage in detail. That is, what is symbol resolution and what is relocation. But these are the two tasks that is used in the linking, that is used by using the static linking. One is symbol resolution. This says object file defines and reference symbols. The purpose of symbol resolution is to associate each symbol reference with exactly one symbol definition. That is, only one symbol is used for one definition. Not more than one definition is using only one symbol. No. One symbol, one definition. Another symbol, another definition. Next task is of the linking is your relocation. That is, compilers and assembler generate the code data section that start at address 0. The linker relocates these section by associating a memory location with each symbol definition. Means, first of all, define the symbol, give the reference, give the symbol definition, then relocate or give the data section and start at the address 0 with each symbol definition, and then modify all the references to those symbols so that they point to this memory location. So this is how static linking can be done or perform the task by using the concept that is relocation and symbol resolution. These topics are discussed in detail in the this chapter only, but in the later stage. This says this section or the section that followed describe this task in more detail. As you read, keep in mind some basic facts about the linking. That is, objects files are merely collection of the blocks of bytes. That is your objects files. Some of these block files contain program code, other contain program data, another contain data structure that guides the linker and loader. So this says only keep in mind basic facts about the linking. That is your object files. That is a collection of blocks. Some blocks includes program files, data files, instructions, data structure. A linker concatenate blocks together. That is, as I told you, main.o, swap.o is combined into the one block, that is your one program. So this says a linker concatenate combines blocks together, decides on runtime location for the concatenated blocks, and modifies various locations within the code and data blocks. Linkers have minimal understanding of the target machine. The compilers and assembler that generate the object file have already done most of the work. So this is your static linking that contains two parts, or that has a main task of two, that is relocation and the symbol resolution. This is step 1, symbol resolution. Program defines and reference different symbols. For example, void swap that defines the symbol swap. This is the swap. This is reference to the symbol swap. This is the int ampersand xp, that is pointer xp equals to this is ampersand x, that is define the symbol xp, reference the x. These are stored in the symbol table, as I told you. Linker associate this symbol with exactly one symbol definition, as I told you. Then step 2, this is the step 1, that is resolution. Step 2 is relocation, that is merges the separate code into the single section, for example main.o and the swap.o into the one program. Relocate the symbol from their relative locations in the .do files into their final absolute memory location in the executable. Then update all the references to the symbol. Now next is your types of objects file, that is your object files. This comes in 3 forms, but before this let's take 5 to 10 minutes break and then come back, and then starting with the next topic, that is your object files. So let's take 5 to 10 minutes break. Now let's start with what are the types of object files. There are generally 3 types of object file that comes in 3 forms. One is your relocatable object files, then executable object file, then shared object file. Now let's see one by one. What is relocatable object file? It contains binary code, that is your 0-1 code, and data in a form that can be combined with other relocatable object files at the compile time to create an executable object file. This says it contains the binary files that is 01 data and another data in a form that can be combined or that can be used or that can be combined with other relocatable object files at the compile time to create an object or create an executable object file. Then next is your executable object file that contains binary data as well as another data in a form that can be directly copied into the memory and executed. Means executable file or executable files are those data that can directly be copied to the or that can directly be moved to the memory and then executing or then executed the code. Then next is your shared object file, that is a special type of or unique type of relocatable object file that can be loaded into the memory and linked dynamically at either runtime or the compile time, that is a load time. So this is a special type of or unique type of or new type of relocatable object file that can be loaded and linked dynamically, that is a shared object file. So relocatable object file means a file that can be used or that is used means relocatable files are the files or that combines relocatable file at the compile time to create the executable object file, and executable object files are the file that contains data that can be copied to the memory and then executed, and then shared object file are the file that can be copied that is used at the copy to the memory or can load it to the memory and used as a linking part that is used at the dynamically at the runtime or the load time. Compilers and assembler generate relocatable object file, that is your first one, including the shared object file. Linker generate executable object file. So if I'm talking about the compiler and assembler, that uses or that generates relocatable object file as well as a shared object file. But linker generate executable object file that is used to copy the data into the memory and then execution of the process takes place. Technically an object file is a sequence of bytes. That is, object file is a sequence of bytes that contains or that is stored on the disk in a file. It is an object module stored on a disk in a file. We will use these terms interchangeably. That is an object file. Now let's see. One is your relocatable object file. This is the object file that is created by the assembler, and link editor are the binary representation of the file. Means if someone asks from me what is an object file, I know what are the types of object file, but what is the object file? That is the file that gives or that the file that contains data in zeros and ones, that is in binary representation of the program, that is known as the object file. So in simple terms, object file means binary representation of the program, and that contains three parts: relocatable object file, executable object file, and shared object file. This is the extension that is used, that is your relocatable object files hold the data, that is your .o file. Then executable object file that gives the data as a.output, that is copied into the memory. Shared object file that have a .so. So relocatable .o, executable .out, shared .so. This is used as dynamically at the load time or the runtime. This is the load time, that is the compile time. The link editor processes the shared object file with other relocatable and shared object file to create another object file. Then runtime, the dynamic linker combines it with executable file and shared file to create a process image. This is the example. This is the simple program of the C language that prints the hello world. Simple, uses the int main, that is the main variable, that is the main function. Then uses the printf, that is for printing purpose. Simply prints one line, that is two words, that is hello world, then return 0. Now object file has not been linked yet. It has not been linked. Relocatable versus executable object code. This is your relocatable. This is not linked. This is another concept. Hello world revisited. So these are the types of the object files. Now, next is your relocatable object file. Means what is the meaning of the relocatable object file? This says figure 3 shows the format of a typical ELF, that is your ELF header or ELF executable object file. This is your ELF. That is, what is ELF relocatable object file? What are the parts or what are the contents or what are the data that is available in this file? This is, first of all, there is a ELF header, then dot text, then dot RO data, then dot data, dot BSS, dot symbol table, that is sim table, dot REL dot text, dot REL dot data, dot debug, dot line, dot str tab, section header table. So this is the sections, or these are the data that these are the instructions that is available in the ELF relocatable object file. This says these are the sections and that describes object file sections. Now let's see what is relocatable object files. Figure 3 shows the format of a typical ELF object files. The ELF header begins with the 16-byte sequence that describes the word size. So this is the header that is of 16-byte sequence that describes the word size and byte ordering of the system that generates a file. The rest of the ELF header contains information that allows a linker to parse and interpret the object file. Means this is the rest of the information that is used, that is .text, .ro data. This includes the size of the ELF header, the object file type, that is relocatable, executable, or the shared, and the machine type, that is IA32, interarchitecture, file offset of the section header of table, size or number of entries. So this says these are the multiple sections that is used, that is available for different information like linking, parsing, interpretation, generating the output, word size, word limit, interpreting. These are the information that is divided into multiple sections. The file offset of the section header file, header table, size, number of entries that is used. The location and the sizes of various sections are described by the section header table. This is a section header table. They describe that .text header contains 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 16 bytes. So there are multiple number of bytes that is available that depends on, or that is decided by the section header table, which contains a fixed size entry for each section in the object file. Then sandwich between the ELF header and the section header, this is your ELF header and this is your section header, are the sections themselves. So these are the multiple sections available. A typical ELF relocatable object file contains the following sections. So these are the following sections, these are the following sections that is available between the ELF header and the header table or the section header. First one is your .txt, that is your machine code of the compiled program. So .txt contains, or .text, that is text, contains the machine code of the compiled program. Then RO data, that is read-only data such as the format string in printf statement and the jump table for the switch statement. So this contains the read-only data that is used as a format string for the printf, that is used for the printing or for the jump table. So .text contains the machine code, .ro data contains the read-only data. Next, .data. This is .data that is used for initialize, or that is used as a initialization of the global C variable. This says local C variables are maintained at the runtime on the stack and do not appear in either .data or .bss sections. So .bss and .data section is only used for the global variable and not used for the local variable. So this says it is used for initializing, or it is used for only global variable, not the local variable. But local variables are maintained at the runtime on the stack and do not appear in either the .data or .bss sections. Next is your .bss, that is uninitialized global C variable. This section occupies or contains no actual space in the object file. It is merely a placeholder. That is, it does not contains any object file, but it is only a placeholder. Object file format distinguishes between initialized and uninitialized variable for space efficiency. Uninitialized variable do not have to occupy any actual disk space in the object file. That is, BSS contains the uninitialized global C variable that only contains a place. That is, if there is a requirement, that space will be utilized, that space will be occupied another space or actual disk space in the object file. Then next is your symbol table, that is .sim tab. A symbol table with information about the functions and the global variable that are defined and referenced in the program. Suppose I'm declaring the global variable, that is APP variable, that is your app variable, as a global variable. So if I'm declaring the global variable, all the information about the variable, all the functions that is used in the program is available in the symbol table, that is your sim tab. That is again a part of the symbol table. Now let's see another part. This is your object file format organization. This is how object file will be organized. As I told you, the object file format provides parallel views of file contents reflecting the different needs of those activity. First is your ELF header that contains executable and linkable format. This contains executable as well as the linkable format that resides at the beginning and holds a roadmap describing the file organization. Then program header table, that is your optional part. Tell the system how to create a process image. This is your optional part. This tell how to create how to use or how to create an image of the process, that is your process image. This says files used to build a process image, that is execute a program, must have a program header table. Relocatable file do not need one. Next is your section header table that contains a various information, various sections, that is your section header. Then sections holds the bulk of object file information for the linking view, such as instructions, data, symbol table, relocation, information, etc. Files used during linking must have a section header table. Other object file may or may not have. For your information, that is FYI, although the figure showed the program header immediately after the ELF header and the section header following the sections header, actual file may differ. Moreover, section and segment have not specified order. Only the ELF header have a fixed position. This says only the ELF header have a fixed position, that is at the starting level, but note other parts, that is program header table sections is not mandatory that they occupy the same space, but they can be override or they can be jumped one after the another. First is your ELF header, that is word size ordering .ro data data section .bss section, that will be discussed with the help of this one. Now let's see. Then this is your symbol table, that a symbol table with information about the functions, that is it contains the functions as well as the global variable that are defined and declared in the program. Some programmers mistakenly believe that program must be compiled with the -G option to set the symbol table information. In fact, every relocatable object file has a symbol table in .sim tab. Means suppose somehow a prediction that if I'm using -G, that is compiler driver, then only the data will be going to the symbol table. But no, every relocatable object file have a symbol table or must contain in the symbol table, that is .sim tab. However, unlike the symbol table inside a compiler, that is a .sim tab symbol table does not contain entries for the local variables. Then next is your .rel text, that is a list of locations in the text section that will need to be modified when the linker combines the object file with the other. That is your rel.text. That is for linking with the other object file when the linker link the object file with the other. In general, any instruction that calls an external function or reference a global variable will need to be modified. Then .rel.data, that relocation information for any global variable that are referenced or defined by the module. In general, any initialized global variable whose initial value is the address of a global value or extremely defined function will need to be modified. So this says this contains information about the global variable that are linked by the other module. So both the information, that is .rel, relocatable text file, relocatable data file, is used as for the global variable and instructions. Then .debug, that is also a debugging symbol table with entries for the local variable and typedef defined in the program. That is .debug symbol table contains the information about the local variable and the typedef, that is your predefined words that is defined in the program, global variable defined and the referenced in the program, and the original C source file. So .debugging or the debug file contains the global variable, local variable, typedef, and the reference that is used in the original C source file. It is only present if the compiler driver is invoked with the .g or the -g option. Then next is your line. That is another section, that is your line, that is used for the mapping between the line number in the original C source program and the machine code instructions in the .text section. It is only present if the compiler driver is invoked with the G option. Then next is your, or last is your str tab, that is your string table for the string symbol tables in the sim tab and the debug section, and for the section named in the section headers. A string table is a sequence of null terminated character strings. These are the multiple sections that is used in the symbol table. Next is your symbols and symbol table. There is no time for the new topic, I think so. Let's see. Now, this is a short description. First is ELF header, that contains the word size, byte ordering, file type, either O, executable, SO, source file, or the source modified. This is the object file, this is an executable file, this is a source object file. Machine type etc, that contains various parts that is defined in the ELF header. Then next is your segment header table, that contains page size, virtual address, memory segment, segment sizes. Then text section, that contains the code. Then RO data, that read only data. Then data section, that is used for initializing the global variable or initialize global variable, that is if I'm using sum equals to 0, that is stored in the .data section. And suppose if I'm using only the global variable as a sum that is not equals to the 0, that is your initialized global variable. One is initialized variable, that is sum equals to 0, that is your initialized variable. One is I'm only declaring the variable, not initializing any value, that is your uninitialized variable. So if there is an uninitialized global variable that is contained or that is stored in the .bss section. Then next point says block started by a symbol, that is if any block is started by a symbol, that is also stored in the .bss section. Then better save space, then that is used for storing the space, that is your better save space. Then next one is your has section header but occupies no space, that is have a section header but occupies no space in the memory, that is your .bss section. Next is your .symbol table, that is contains the symbol table, procedure and static variable names, that also contains the section names and the location, that is your .symbol table section. Next is your rel.text section, that is used for the relocation information for .text section, addresses of instruction that will need to be modified or in the executable file, instructions for modifying, that contains the instructions for modifying, that is rel.text section. Then next section is your rel.data section, that is relocatable information for .data section. Then addresses of pointer data that will need to be modified in the merge executable. Next is your debug section, that contains a variable debug information, that is information for symbolic debugging, that requires -d -g option. Next part is your section header table. That is another part, that is a section header table that contains the offsets and the sizes of each section. Now next is what is a process, that provides each program with the illusion that it has a user processor and the memory. What is a processor image? This is a processor image. That is how process will be executed. This contains read-only segment, read-write segment, runtime heap, memory mapped region, and the so many reasons. This is not in not for you. This is a high level, but it's not for you. So that's all for I think today's session. This is the new topic. This is the new topic, that is symbols and symbol table. But I think this is not true if I'm starting with this one, because there is no time left, only 5 to 10 minutes left. It's around 5:14 IST. So let's finish over here only. But this is the next topic, that is the symbols and symbol table, that I will be starting in the next topic, in the next class, in the next session, that is a tomorrow session. So that's all for today's session. Now if you have any doubts in these 4 topics that we have I have covered in the today's class, you can text the doubts, you can give the doubts, and I will answer you. But before this, let's take a quick review what we have covered in the today's class. So let's take quick review. I've started with the chapter number 7, that is linking part, and I've covered these 4 topics in the today's class. What is compiler driver, what is static linking, object files, relocatable object files. So we have discussed what is linking, that is collecting and combine various pieces of the code into a single file that can be copied or uploaded into the memory and then executing. This is then executed, that is your linking part. And linking can be done at 2 levels, that is your compile time and the run time. So if linking is done at the load time, that is known as the compile time, and if linking is done at the run time, that is your currently running time, that is your runtime linking. So these are of 2 parts. We have also discussed about the features of the linking, that is why a programmer or why we are using or why we understand the linking. It helps to build the large program. It helps to avoid the dangerous programming errors. It helps to understand the various rules, regulation of the programming. It helps to understand some important system concept. It helps enable you to exploit shared libraries. Then we have discussed about the compiler drivers. That is, what is a compiler driver? That contains pre-processing, compilation, assembly, and then linking. That contains, or that is known as a compiler driver. So this is the example that we have discussed. This is the main, this is the swap.c. These 2 programs is combined and converted into the next program. This is your translator, that is, first of all, these 2 programs are translated into the object file, that is your relocatable objects files, and then these objects files are combined into the next one, that is used by the linker, and then obtain the output, that is your fully linked executable object file. Then we have discussed about the static linking, that is a linking that can be done at the compile time is known as the static linking. That contains 2 tasks, important 2 tasks, that is a relocation and the symbol resolution. Then we have discussed about the object files. That is, what is an object file? That is simple binary representation of the program. That is, if we present or if we represent the program in binary terms, that is known as the object file. That contains three parts. One is a relocatable object file, then executable object file, then shared object file. Relocatable includes the data that is used at the compile time. Executable contains data that is directly copied or transferred to the memory and then executed. Shared, that can be loaded and linked at the dynamic level, that is your runtime. That is a shared object file, and both have an extension, and these have an extension. Relocatable object file have extension, that is .o. Executable have extension, that is .out. Shared have extension, that is .s. Then we have discussed about the relocatable object files that contains multiple parts. First of all, there is a ELF header, then multiple sections, then section header table. And this is the explanation that we have discussed about the different sections. These are the explanation of different sections. Next is your symbols and symbol table. So that's all for today's session. Now, if you have any doubts, then please text the doubt and I will answer you. So in the tomorrow's class, I will be starting with the next topic, that is symbols and symbol tables. So if you have any doubts, then please text the doubt and I will answer you. So thank you so much everyone for listening me. In tomorrow's class, I will start with the next topic, that is the symbols and symbol table. Thank you so much everyone.